I think I'm going to write a song, and it's going to be called I Picked a Fight in a Diabetes Support Group. I picked a fight in a diabetes support group. Bah, bah, bah. And then at the end, it's going to be that guy from the commercials. It's like diabetes. Right? Like he'll be like the bass in the background. Diabetes. All right. I'm at it again. I'm making a video about this one because somebody really ticked me off. And I'm just going to talk about it. Okay, I'm gonna have to record at this odd angle because I have to plug my phone in because my battery's low, but I'm mad. And Kevin's trying to break down the door. All right, Kevin's got a chew. Here he is. So now, hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be good. For those of you who are new, my name is Allie. I'm on a fantabulous weight loss quest, and hopefully you'll subscribe, come along for the ride, because I put out new videos every day. Okay, so I picked a fight in a diabetic support group, and I'm beginning to think that people who are diagnosed with diabetes are like more prone to just assume that everything that their doctor tells them is good and right and okay. And it's very frustrating for me because I do not see this kind of blind acceptance of everything without questioning anything in any of the other support groups. None of them. I only see it in the diabetic only groups. Now, and when I say diabetic only, I mean, these are groups that are like, you have to post about your diabetes. You got to post your A1C in order to make a comment, right? Those kind of groups. Those are the ones that I see that are like, you better not say anything against something that a doctor said because then you're trying to give medical advice. No. There's a difference between giving advice or providing support, offering an opinion, and giving medical advice. And honestly, if we're all adults, I shouldn't have to differentiate between the two. There's more than two, but I shouldn't have to differentiate between them. Like, again, if you're new here, when I talk to my peeps, right, all my subscribers, and I make videos, I don't talk down to you guys. I talk to you as if you're my friend and we are on the same level. I mean, I'll explain things and I'll explain, my point of view, but I don't dumb things down like other creators do. I'm just telling it like it is. And I assume that we all have a healthy understanding that doctors are people too. And they can make mistakes. And when people post in a support group, they're looking for, I don't know, support. But this is what it's like to post in one of these diabetic support groups. And I am not exaggerating. I'm not joking. I'm going to tell you about this post. Here's how it goes. Okay, so the original poster says, hey, so I was on Mounjaro and I was doing really well and my A1C number started out at this and now it's down to this and it was going really great, but I'm a bad patient and I thought, oh, okay, this kind of got everything jump-started, so now I'm going to take myself off the medication for 3 months without telling my doctor. And now my levels are going back up and it's a problem and my blood work wasn't good. So now my doctor's saying I have to get back on it. And so they're starting me at the last dose that I was on 3 months ago, which was 7.5. Is that okay? Okay. So that's the post, right? Here are the responses. Oh my God, are you asking this question on Facebook? Why aren't you talking to your doctor? Ew. Oh, let me guess. You thought you could cure your diabetes, so, you came off the medication? Yeah, that was really smart. Oh, yeah, you can do that. You can stop taking the medication at any time and restart it at the same dose, and it's fine. Oh, yeah, this happened to me. I had to stop taking it for a surgery, so I had to stop taking it for a week and then a week afterwards. So I was only off of it for 2 weeks, and I stayed on the same dose. So I'm sure, even though you were off of it for 3 months, I'm sure you'll be fine. Well, your doctor must have had a reason to start you back at that dose. Why don't you ask your doctor? And then there's my one lonely comment that goes against the grain. And what did I say? Hey, 3 months is a long time to be off the medication. It's not standard protocol to start you back at that dose when you were as high as you were, which was 7.5. So if you are going to start at 7.5 because that's what your doctor told you to do, I recommend that you prepare yourself to potentially be sick for a few days. Make sure you have a family member or a close friend who can stay with you in case you end up needing to go to the hospital. Make sure you've got all your stuff on hand, right? And just so you know, that's not usually how doctors do it. So you probably want to look into getting a new doctor, because those doctors who are well versed and understand how this medication works, if somebody is off the medication for more than 30 days, they usually start them out at a lower dose unless they were on low doses to begin with. That was my one lonely, singular, cautionary comment to this post. And I thought, okay, clearly I need to be the voice of reason here because everybody else is just offering garbage, right? And they're not really being helpful, and some of them didn't even answer the question. So, while telling someone to talk to their doctor or their medical team is always advised, right? If that's the only comment that people keep getting over and over and over again in a support group, it's actually not helpful. You didn't provide them with any information. You just kind of copped out, right? Like, okay, we get it. Talk to your doctor. And you can certainly say that, but provide the person some information. Now, in my opinion, if you're not educated on the subject, then you should probably just give your best advice, whatever that would be. Like, some people might say, hey, make sure you stay hydrated. Or, make sure you've got your protein shakes. Make sure, right, because you might be a little nauseated. Make sure your doctor writes you a prescription for Zofran, right? None of that is medical advice. All of that would be helpful. No one, literally no one in the comments said that. Literally no one. So then what ends up happening? There's always one. Unfortunately, in diabetic groups, there's always like a gabillion, but there's always one Karen that comes after me and is like, you shouldn't be telling somebody what to do, and you shouldn't be giving them medical advice, and if you're not a doctor, then you shouldn't be commenting on what doctors do. Listen, lady, I got news for you, okay? I got news for you, Karen. I don't have to be a doctor to recognize when something is a bad idea. And while she may be fine, she may also not be fine. There are plenty of people who have done this exact same thing. They were off the medication for more than 30 days and then went back on it, and their doctor was like, yeah, screw it. Just put you back on the dose you were on. And guess what? Do you know what happened, Karen? Do you know? Do you keep up with these kind of things? Because I do. And do you know what happened? Those people ended up in the emergency room. The ER, Karen. The most expensive place on the planet that's not full of fun and Mickey Mouse ears. Okay? The ER. Nobody wants to end up like that. Like, when you're posting in a support group, You're looking for helpful information. You're not looking for medical advice. Come on. Don't be like that. Don't be that person. God, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. So, of course, I was the only comment of any margin of help. Hopefully, the original poster saw my comment and, took it into consideration and went and talked to their doctor. Right? Like, can we just share with other people our experiences, our thoughts, our feelings, our research that we've done without somebody jumping into the comments telling you that you're not a doctor? Karen, I know I'm not a doctor. I know that. I don't need somebody to tell me that. But I also know from speaking with doctors, from interviewing doctors, from research that I've done on my own because I'm a GLP-1 advocate, I also know what the standard of care is if you've been off of a GLP-1 for more than 30 days. And I can tell you right now, this doctor doesn't know. Does it make them a bad person? No. They're human. It's probably a general practitioner, right? They don't know. They can't possibly be expected to know everything about every single drug, right? Like, that would be completely unreasonable. It is our responsibility as patients to research, to be knowledgeable about what it is that we're taking. And if you're not sure, that's okay. That's okay. Just don't go comment on somebody else's comment when they're trying to be helpful and tell them that they're not a doctor, therefore they don't know what they're talking about. Did you hear about that doctor in Florida that did surgery on a guy and took out the wrong organ? Yeah, that's a real thing. You can Google it. He was a doctor. He was a surgeon. You want to hear the really screwed up part? It wasn't the first time he had screwed up that bad. He was still a doctor at a hospital, a surgeon. I'm not saying be afraid of your doctor, right? If Karen was watching, that would be her takeaway. What I'm saying is, let's not put doctors up on this ridiculous pedestal and think that everything that comes out of their mouth is gold, because it's not. Another lady posted the other day saying that her doctor advised her that she should only be eating 500 to 1,000 calories a day. I think we can all safely agree that that's not a good plan. That's going to be problematic long term. That person, should they choose to do that, is going to lose a lot of muscle, which is going to cause problems later on. Not to mention, they're likely going to lose their hair, right? All of these things. The list goes on and on and on. They'll have vitamin deficiencies, right? How do I know that? Do I know that because I'm a doctor? No, because I'm not a doctor. But I've done research. We as a community have done research. We've seen this happen to other people. We've seen it happen in the bariatric community, right? So it's not medical advice for me to comment on that person's post and say, hey, just so you know, you should probably get a new doctor, because that's not a good idea. You should see if your insurance covers a dietitian. Start there, right? Like, I don't understand these people. I don't understand this mindset. I don't get it. I think that maybe people who are like this were raised or reared in such a way that they were forced to conform, and they were forced to be obedient to an authority. And I think that they were never allowed to question things. They were never allowed to think creatively. I think that all of that was stifled. And so they become adults, and then in support groups, they go, you can't say that because you're not a doctor, right? Don't tell that person to get a new doctor. Don't tell them. Don't do that. You're going to get in trouble, right? Like, that's like the mentality. That's the thinking. And I got the Italian hand going, right? And I'm like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Right? I don't understand. Does not compute. I don't think that way. When I read a post in a support group, I think, okay, these are the challenges this person is facing. It's obvious based off of the information they've provided that their medical team is not helpful. They're looking for help. Let's see what the comments say. I go through and read all of the comments, which I guarantee you this Karen didn't do. And then I formulate a response. And I even said to this Karen, I said, at the time that I made this comment, no one was warning her, original poster, that there could potentially be a problem. So I was just trying to provide that warning. It is on them to take it from there and talk to their doctor, right? I can't tell you what to do. I'm just a random voice on Facebook. But at least there was one comment that said, hey, just so you know, this is not the standard of care. This is not a good idea. It could potentially go badly, and you should probably be prepared for that, meaning, i.e., take off from work, right? Just in case you get sick. If you don't, great. No harm, no foul. If you do, you'll be prepared. That's all I was saying. Why is that so bad? I don't know. I don't get it. And this is why I have a tendency to lurk in diabetic groups, and I don't comment in diabetic groups, because 9 times out of 10, whatever I write, I'm going to get a comment like that. And then there's another support group that it doesn't matter what I comment, the admin of that group, he is constantly disagreeing and trying to disprove what I'm saying. Like, every single time I comment in that group, I don't understand it. I don't know if he just has no life, or if, I mean, he posts other, negative commentary on other people's things. So I'm not being singled out. I think that that's just this guy's personality, but it's incredibly frustrating. And I just stop responding to him because I can't block him, because if you block an admin of a group, right, I can tell you, being the creator of a group, the admin can still see you, but it will show that you blocked them. And so you get in trouble for that. They'll kick you out of the group. Right, Kevin? We don't want to be kicked out. I know. It'd be terrible. It'd be so terrible. I don't want you to kiss me. I don't want to be Frenched. Okay. All right, Kevin's got to go out. So, if you made it this far, thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Comment down below and let me know if you are tired of people commenting, saying, talk to your doctor. I'm really getting tired of it. Like, and I love when like nurses comment, nurse practitioners, and they're like, hey, I'm a nurse, blah, 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 blah. And they give advice, right? Like, that's fantastic if you have those qualifications. But to single my comment out of all of them, you better not say anything bad about this person's doctor, that I don't know them and I don't know their doctor, but you better not, because doctors are infallible. You better be careful. You better watch yourself, Allie. You better watch it. That's what I feel like every time one of these Karens does this to me. I'm like, oh God, here we go again. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the ride. Make sure you check out my other videos where I have helpful tips and tricks that can help you on your GLP-1 journey. If you're looking for a positive-only support group where this kind of shenanigans is not permitted, I got you covered. The link is in the description box below. And as always, be kind. Rewind.
Kevin, do you want to go outside? Do you need to go outside? You do? Okay. Okay, all right, let's do it.